Imagine you are standing in the middle of a bank vault. The steel walls are 3 feet thick. The door is a masterpiece of Swiss engineering, timed to open only once a day. Security cameras cover every inch of the floor. Laser grids span the hallway. Outside, armed guards patrol the perimeter. You feel safe. You feel impenetrable. Now, imagine that while you are standing there, admiring the steel and the lasers, a man walks right through the wall. He doesn't trip the alarms. The cameras don't see him. The lasers don't burn him. He walks to the stack of cash, picks it up and walks back out through the wall. He wasn't invisible. He didn't hack the camera feed to loop a video. He didn't bribe the guards. He simply changed the laws of physics inside that room. This is not a scene from a science fiction movie. This is exactly what happened to the global financial system in 2007. The vault is your web browser. The steel walls are the SSL encryption that protects your data. And the man walking through the wall, he is a piece of code, a ghost, a legend. His name is Zeus, and he didn't just steal money, he stole reality. Welcome to 0 Days Stories, the channel where we peel back the glossy interface of the internet to reveal the rusting machinery and the digital warlords who control it. I'm your host. Today, we are tracking the single most devastating financial malware in history. A story that begins in a cramped apartment in Russia and ends with a multi-million-dollar bounty, a fleet of luxury yachts, and a geopolitical standoff that continues to this day. This is the story of the King of Bots. To understand the monster, you have to understand the laboratory that created him. We need to go back to the 1990s. The Soviet Union has collapsed. The Iron Curtain has fallen, and in its place is a vacuum of power, money, and law. But amidst the rubble of the superpower, there was something valuable left behind: the education system. The Soviet Union had spent decades churning out world-class mathematicians, cryptographers, and engineers. These were minds trained to build missile guidance systems and crack Western codes. But in the new Russia, there were no missiles to guide. There were no jobs. The economy was in free fall. A PhD in computer science meant you were qualified to drive a taxi or sell knockoff jeans at a market. But then the internet arrived. For a generation of young, brilliant, and hungry Russian men, the internet wasn't just a library, it was a hunting ground. It was the Wild West, and they were the only ones who knew how to shoot. They gathered on underground forums, digital speakeasies with names like Carter Planet and Mazafaka. These weren't the dark web. These were open forums, but they operated with a strict code of silence. Here, a new industry was born: carding. Carding was the art of stealing and using credit card data. At first, it was crude. Hackers would break into a database, steal 1,000 card numbers, and sell them for $10 apiece. It was a hustle. It was retail theft. But in the noise of these forums, amidst the trolls and the scammers, a user appeared who was different. He registered under the handle Slavik. Later, he would be known as Monster, and sometimes Lucky 12,345. Slavik didn't post bragging threads about buying new sneakers with a stolen Visa. He posted about architecture. He posted about kernel-level interactions. He despised the script kiddies, the amateurs who used tools they didn't understand. Slavik saw the chaotic world of cybercrime and realized it was inefficient. Phishing, the dominant tactic of the time, was clumsy. It relied on sending millions of emails pretending to be PayPal or eBay, hoping a fraction of a % of victims would fall for it. It was loud, it was easy to track. Slavik asked a question that would change the course of history. Why trick the user into coming to a fake site when we can just rob them on the real one? In 2007, Slavik unveiled his answer. He released a piece of malware he called Zeus. Zeus was not a virus designed to destroy, it was designed to conquer. It spread through drive-by downloads. This meant you didn't have to download a suspicious file named invoice, XA. You just had to visit a legitimate website, a local news blog, a recipe site that had been compromised. A hidden script on that page would scan your browser for weaknesses, an outdated Adobe Flash player, an unpatched version of Internet Explorer, and silently force the Zeus payload onto your machine. The installation took less than a second. No windows popped up, no fans whirred. Once inside, Zeus did something revolutionary. It didn't attack your files. It attacked your browser. It hooked into the Windows API functions, specifically the WinNE and NSPR libraries that controlled how your browser sent and received data. This technique is called Man in the Browser, MITB. Let me explain how terrifying this is. When you log into your bank, your browser creates a secure, encrypted tunnel to the bank's server. That's what the green padlock means. It means no one outside the tunnel can read your data. But Zeus was already inside the browser. It was sitting inside the tunnel with you. It could read your keystrokes before they were encrypted. It could see the bank's web page after it was decrypted. It had total visibility. But Slavik wasn't satisfied with just watching. He wanted to control. He introduced a feature called Web Injects. This allowed Zeus to modify the HTML of a web page in real time, on the fly, inside the victim's browser. Imagine you log into Bank of America. The page loads. It looks perfect. But then a pop-up window appears. It has the correct font, the correct logo, the correct shadow drop. The text reads, System Security Update. To verify your identity, please enter your social security number, your ATM PIN, and your mother's maiden name. You think the bank is asking you this, but the bank isn't. The bank's server sent the normal dashboard page. Zeus intercepted that page, injected the fake pop-up code, and then showed it to you. You type your secrets into the box. Zeus captures them, sends them to a server in Russia, and then quietly removes the pop-up, letting you proceed to your account. You leave happy. Slavik leaves rich. If Slavik had kept Zeus for himself, he would have been a very rich criminal. But he wanted to be an industry titan. He realized that running the cash out, the actual process of stealing funds and moving them, was risky. It involved money mules, police attention, and logistical headaches. So he decided to sell the shovels. He turned Zeus into a product, a toolkit. On the exclusive Russian forums, the sales threads appeared. Zeus, the ultimate botnet kit. Price, $3,000 to $4,000. For the price of a used car, any criminal could buy a zip file containing The Builder, a sophisticated program that generated unique custom versions of the Zeus virus, designed to evade the specific antivirus software of the week. The control panel, a stunning web-based interface that looked like a corporate analytics dashboard. It showed world maps with infected bots lighting up like Christmas trees. It showed statistics, 10,000 bots online, 500 logins stolen today. The manual, a comprehensive guide on how to set up servers and manage the botnet. And the killer feature? Customer support. Slavik was an incredible businessman. If you bought Zeus and couldn't get it to work, you could message him. If a bank updated their security and broke the web inject, Slavik would code a patch and release an update within hours. He created the SaaS model, software as a service for felonies. Suddenly, the barrier to entry for cybercrime collapsed. You didn't need to be a coding genius. You just needed 3,000 and a complete lack of morals. The ecosystem exploded. In the UK, gangs used Zeus to empty business accounts. In the US, hackers targeted municipalities and school districts. The mule industry boomed. Here is how the money moved. A hacker in Ukraine uses Zeus to steal credentials from a dentist in Ohio. He logs in and transfers 20,000. He can't transfer it to Ukraine. The bank will block it. So he transfers it to a mule in New York. The mule is a college student who thinks he has a legitimate payment processing job. He receives the 20,000, keeps 10%, and wires the rest via Western Union to Kiev. Once the cash is picked up at Western Union, the trail goes cold. The money is gone. By 2009, Zeus was the undisputed king. But in the underworld, power invites challenge. A rival emerged, a coder going by the handle Gribodemon, also known as Harderman, released a toolkit called SpyEye. If Zeus was the refined, expensive Mercedes of malware, SpyEye was the flashy, aggressive muscle car. It was cheaper, 1,000. It had a more modern interface, and Gribodemon was aggressive. He marketed SpyEye specifically as a Zeus killer. He even included a feature in SpyEye called Kill Zeus. If a computer was infected with SpyEye, the software would scan the hard drive for Zeus signatures, delete the rival virus, and take over the machine. It was a hostile, corporate takeover, executed in binary. The forums erupted in flame wars. Loyalists debated the stability of Zeus versus the features of SpyEye. Slavik, ever the professional, mocked SpyEye's buggy code. Gribodemon mocked Slavik's exorbitant prices. Then, in October 2010, the cybercrime world stopped. Slavik posted a message on the top-tier forums. The king was retiring. He claimed he was tired. The heat was too much. He had made his millions. And in a final shocking twist, he announced that he was handing over the source code of Zeus to his rival, Gribodemon. It was framed as a merger, a passing of the torch. The two biggest threats were becoming one. The security industry panicked, fearing a super virus. But it was all a lie, a brilliant Machiavellian feint. Slavik hadn't retired. He had gone dark. The code he gave Gribodemon was real, but it was the old version. By giving it away, he made Zeus public. He knew that once the code was public, security researchers would dissect it, and antivirus companies would learn to block it easily. He effectively burned the ground behind him. While the world watched Gribodemon, who would eventually be arrested by the FBI, Slavik took his inner circle, an elite group known as the Business Club, and began work on his true masterpiece. He called it Gameover Zeus. If the original Zeus was a sniper rifle, Gameover Zeus was a nuclear submarine. The weakness of the original Zeus was its command and control, CNC, servers. If the FBI found the server sending orders to the bots, they could seize it, unplug it, and the botnet would die. It was the head of the snake. Gameover Zeus was different. Slavik completely re-engineered the architecture to use peer-to-peer, P2P technology. In this new model, there was no central server. Every infected computer talked to other infected computers. The instructions, steal from this bank, download this file, were passed from victim to victim like a rumor whispering through a crowd. If the FBI took down one node, the network simply routed around it. It was decentralized. It was resilient. It was unkillable. Slavik stopped selling the kit. Gameover Zeus was for his private use only. He built a massive botnet, estimated at over 1 million infected machines. And then he got greedy. He realized he had a supercomputer made of stolen laptops. Why limit himself to bank theft? He began renting access to his botnet to other criminals for different schemes. This led to the darkest chapter: Crypto Locker. In 2013, Slavik used his Gameover Zeus network to distribute a new kind of horror. People would turn on their computers to find a red screen with a countdown timer. Your personal files are encrypted. Photos of your children, your tax documents, your business plans, they are locked. Pay us 300 in Bitcoin or the key will be deleted forever. This was the industrialization of ransomware. It wasn't just theft, it was extortion. It caused panic in hospitals, police departments, and homes across the globe. It generated an estimated $30 million in mere months. But CryptoLocker brought too much heat. The FBI, the UK's national crime agency, and tech giants like Dell SecureWorks and CrowdStrike formed a coalition. They launched Operation Tovar. It was a massive undertaking. They couldn't just turn off the botnet because of the P2P structure. They had to infiltrate it. They built sinkholes, fake bots that intercepted the traffic and prevented it from reaching the victims. But the real goal was the man, who was Slavik. Investigators spent years sifting through the digital exhaust. They flipped low-level money mules and offered them plea deals. They analyzed the administrative headers in the P2P of UP traffic. And finally, they found a mistake, a single tiny thread. They linked the administrative activity of the botnet to an email address, lucky12345@gmail.com. And they linked that email to a real name, Evgeniy Bogachev. In 2014, the FBI released his wanted poster. The world held its breath. We expected a stereotype, a pale, skinny introvert living in a basement in Moscow, surrounded by energy drinks. What we got was a Bond villain. The FBI released photos they had recovered from his personal devices. We saw a bald, muscular man in his 30s. We saw him wearing leopard print pajamas, lounging in a luxury apartment with a Bengal cat. We saw him steering a magnificent yacht across the sparkling waters of the Black Sea. We saw him driving a fleet of expensive cars in Anapa, a sunny resort town in southern Russia. He looked like a man who had won the game of life. The US Department of Justice charged him with conspiracy, computer hacking, wire fraud, and money laundering. They placed a $3 million bounty on his head, the highest reward ever offered for a cyber criminal at the time. They had his name, they had his face, they knew exactly where he lived, Anapa. So, where is Evgeniy Bogachev today? Is he in a supermax prison? Is he hiding in a hole? No. He is likely sitting on his yacht in the Black Sea, sipping a drink, watching the sunset. Evgeniy Bogachev is a free man. Russia does not have an extradition treaty with the United States. As long as he does not leave Russian soil, the FBI cannot touch him. But the story is darker than just a lack of treaties. Intelligence analysts and security experts believe that Bogachev isn't just tolerated by the Russian state. He is an asset. Think about what he built. A network of millions of infected computers. These aren't just grandmother's laptops. Gameover Zeus infected computers inside Fortune 500 companies, inside defense contractors, inside government agencies in Washington, London, Berlin, and Kiev. That is an intelligence-gathering network that would cost a nation-state billions of dollars to build. Bogachev built it for profit, funded by stolen American money. The prevailing theory, the Corsair theory, is simple. The Kremlin allows Bogachev to keep his millions, his yacht, and his freedom. In exchange, when the FSB or the GRU needs to look inside a specific computer, say a Ukrainian diplomat's laptop or a Georgian server, they ask Slavik for access, and Slavik provides the keys. He is a pirate, yes, but he is a privateer sailing under the protection of the state flag. The original Gameover Zeus network was disrupted in 2014, but the war was never won. Because Slavik leaked the source code back in 2011, the DNA of Zeus is inside almost every modern banking Trojan today. Drydex, Crydex, Citadel, these are the children of Zeus. They use his web injectors. They use his evasion techniques. Evgeniy Bogachev changed the world. He proved that the browser, the tool we use for everything, is inherently broken. He proved that crime can be franchised. And he proved that one man with enough intelligence and the right friends can rob the entire world and get away with it. So, the next time you log into your bank and you see that reassuring little green padlock, take a moment. Look at the screen. Is it real? Or is there a ghost in the machine painting a picture for you while he walks through the walls of the vault? This is 0 Days Stories. Stay paranoid. Stay secure.